We're recording. Hello.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining me today. Kerry came to me to ask some help about her periods. She described them actually. She came to me 6 weeks ago and she described her periods as being hellish for the last 4 to 5 months. Do you want to share with us what was going on at that point, Kerry?
Yeah, my periods have always been a bit weird ever since I was a teenager, and ages ago I was diagnosed with PCOS. So I'm used to weird periods where sometimes I go a long time without them, and sometimes they're really heavy and everything. But I don't know if my body seemed to know that I hit 50. I don't know. But yeah, they had got awful. They were really heavy. There was lots of blood clots and things, and they were very, very painful.
Painful.
And I was really worried actually that there was more to it, and in case it was something else. And they would be really heavy for like 7 days, and then they'd be really light for like 3 weeks, and then I'd have like one day of no bleeding at all, and then it'd start all over again. And I just thought, I can't go on like this, because it really impacts everything that you're doing, and it makes you feel tired and uncomfortable. So
How
then
was
you
it
don't want
affecting
to
your
move.
life at that point?
Well, because you don't want to move, actually. And it wasn't until I felt better that I realised how bad I'd felt because I think it comes on gradually and you get used to it, you adjust. But when the remedy that you gave me started working, I realised how much more energy I had. And, even my tummy felt a bit more settled just in general. So, yeah.
Bowels, you mean?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, because I used to be really worried about what I ate and everything. I never knew what was going to set my upset tummies off. But since then, actually, my tummy has also been a bit better. So I don't know if it's that or.
Good to know. So did you ask for any help from your GP? Did you visit your GP for your issue with your periods at all?
I did, because I just wanted to know what it was really, because I don't like the thought of taking. Well, I'm overweight, so they're not going to give me HRT. My mum's had breast cancer, so I'd be high risk for HRT and going on the pill and things like that. And to be honest, I'm a bit weird about having drugs in my body. I don't like it anyway. So I would much rather. I just wanted to go to the GP and for them to say to me, look, it's nothing sinister. It is just like a hormone related, whatever. And then I would work out how to manage it myself. So I did go. I had some blood tests. I had a thing to say I've got the results, and then a message to say go and get the results, and then another message to say the lab had messed them up, so I've got to go back and have them done again. But I haven't actually been. I've got a note to say that I need to book in, but now that it's better, it's took it away from the forefront of my mind, so I keep forgetting to book it back in. I will book in because I think it's good.
So you never got the results back?
No, but I think everything must be okay from what they did see, because otherwise I'd have phone call.
What was their first kind of what did they say about what was going on with you at that point? Diagnosis?
Yeah, they didn't. Well, to be honest, they didn't really. No, they did an internal examination, and said everything looked fine. And I think they just assume it's menopause, and then I guess the next thing would have been HRT or the pill, or she mentioned the coil. I don't like the idea of that. And that's when I said, look, I just need to know what it is, and then let me go away and manage it myself, because I'd much rather take a more natural approach to it, and that sort of thing.
Okay. And then we had a consultation together. You spoke about your physical problem, and we explored a bit what was going on in your life at that point, physically, mentally, and emotionally all together, right?
Yeah.
And the stresses of life, the everyday stuff we need to go through as mothers and daughters and wives, and just having to manage everything. And I recall you were you feel quite tired. Of
Mm.
course, bleeding for a whole month is not helping. And there was you felt you were carrying a lot of weight with family commitments and stuff like that. So we explored a bit of what was going on in your life at that point, and how the periods was affecting your moods and your energy and your sleep. And then I prescribed a remedy, which you picked up. And tell me what happened after.
So I just didn't have any bleeding straight away. There was no bleeding, because I think I took it when I felt really bad with my period. I can't remember exactly, but I think I did. But anyway, it stopped, and then there was no bleeding and nothing. So before, there'd be little bits of spotting sometimes and things like that, but there was nothing. And then when I was due to get my period again, I did get my period. And there was a little bit of pain and discomfort, but literally before, I was paracetamol, ibuprofen, hot water bottle, you name it. I was just trying everything because the pain was terrible. But I didn't take anything. I didn't take a single paracetamol.
So it was like normal period pains, like normal cramping, rather than
it was just,
excruciating pain.
cramping. Yeah, exactly. And it was the sort of heaviness that it used to be. Tiny little bit of blood clots, but not a lot, but nothing. It was like a normal period again. It lasted for 5 days, and then it went, and then there's been no bleeding since again. So it feels like I've kick-started something that's back into a normal routine.
Great.
And I did, all those pressures, I think, for women of our age and at this time, it is hard. I read a book by a comedian about menopause, and she said years ago, when women were going through the menopause, they weren't looking after their parents because people didn't live so long. So when they were going through that age, they'd already lost their parents, and they didn't have young children because they had children a lot younger. So I was told I couldn't have children. So my daughter came along as a surprise at 36. So at the moment in life, my mum's 81 and I'm a carer. My daughter's 14 and going through teenage hormone craziness.
And you work full time as well?
And I work full time. And then you have to deal with menopause and things. And I just, in that book, it just made me think, it's different, I think, for our generation, because we've got all these different stuff. Years ago, your kids would be grown up by now. And your parents probably wouldn't be around, which I know it's a sad thing, and I'm glad my mum is here still with us, but it's all extra pressures that women, I think, have to deal with.
And you're managing too many roles at the same time, right? You're managing too many roles.
Yeah, and we probably wouldn't have been working full time either, and in some cases being the breadwinner in the family.
Absolutely. So did you find the remedy helped you? You mentioned about your bowels and your tummy, that's a bit more settled now. And did you find it, you mentioned a bit about your energy that's improved, that was improved?
I think it just changed your mood as well, because after that I looked at something, not to do a diet, because diets just make me evil and very unhappy, but I looked at something else about eating as well, and that's I'm sort of listening to like a meditation about it every night. But I had the motivation to do it, which I wouldn't have had before.
So your circumstances didn't change?
Yeah, it wasn't just that the period stopped, but I think whether it was because they were so draining, or whether the remedy helps with mood as well, which I'm sure it does. But I just felt like I had the motivation and energy and desire to be more active. And I think when you realise that how uncomfortable and painful, having a period for ages is miserable, isn't it? It's uncomfortable, and you feel
absolutely. You mentioned you talked a lot about heaviness in our consultation, and it was heavy periods and like lots of heavy burdens around family situations and stuff. Do you feel this heaviness has been kind of been lifted a bit from your
I
shoulders?
do actually, yeah, I do. Well, I mean, it comes and goes, don't get me wrong. When
I
I
mean,
get
the
a phone call.
circumstances are still the same; they haven't changed.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I think it comes and goes now more than being constant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and your approach to things maybe has become a bit different, and your view of life maybe has become a bit more
Mm.
kind of, I don't know, uplifted or,
Well, in a way, you become a little bit more selfish, I think, because
well, you need to.
yeah, you know, I bought this pedometer and I'm trying to walk a bit more. Now that takes me away from doing other stuff, but it's something that I enjoy. Firstly, I know it's good for me, so I thought, I'm going to do it. So
Mm, excellent. So not having a period, I mean, I can imagine. I've never been through that situation, but
mm,
you described how miserable it was having your periods all the time. And how
yeah.
is it different now? How do you find it
Well, it's just really nice that you can
normal?
like it's normal, and I know you don't feel hot all the time because obviously, I was buying sanitary towels like a lunatic. I was ordering massive multi-packs of them off Amazon because I was just going through them like crazy, and I felt bad for doing that to the environment, and then everything like just come. But
Costly as well, very costly.
I know. Well, I've got boxes of them now upstairs in my wardrobe, so hopefully, as long as things stay the same, I won't need to buy any for about 6 months.
Well, if you go back to if it goes back to what it was, we can always repeat the remedy and see how it helps and what we can do to help. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm, great, lovely. Thank you so much. I'll let you go and walk your dog and get on with the
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. And I hope,
You're welcome.
some people can view that and get some help. And for women to understand that there's not just one way to approach things, and that there's so many other alternatives,
Yeah.
and they can research themselves. And of course, homeopathy is one. And I know you have been using homeopathy for a few years now, and you kind of you try a few things, and then you always go back to homeopathy because you find that um, there's no real cure in other ways of
Mm.
treating. So, but with homeopathy there is, because it addresses the root cause of the disturbance of the problem.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I believe you need a like a variety of avenues to explore.
Approaches, yeah.
Yeah, and you need to find maybe take a bit from lots of different places and put them together and bring it together. But you're right, homeopathy, because you have a session, however uncomfortable it makes you feel, because you have to talk about stuff you don't really want to talk about. But that's like counselling in itself.
It's quite
And
freeing to
then
talk about things you usually don't talk
yeah,
with your friends, and maybe
yeah,
you think they're normal and that everybody goes through the same things, and
yeah,
sometimes you don't want to share with your friends or your family because you don't want to burden them. So actually
no,
having a person that's not involved emotionally with you, it's kind of
mhm,
like a clear slate, and you just kind of share all your troubles with them and
mm,
hopefully get a good remedy that will help in resolving those troubles, right?
yes, exactly that.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Kerry. Thank you. I'm going to stop this recording now. Um,
Or not.
yes. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.